Mysterious Candy Gate. One Saturday morning, 8-year-old James set off with his mother to visit his loving grandfather. His grandfather's house was a big old mansion on the outskirts of town. It was surrounded by lush green trees and colorful flowers. James loved his grandfather very much and looked forward to spending time with him. When he arrived at his grandfather's house, James immediately hugged his grandfather. His grandfather gave him a warm smile and told him that they had planned games and activities to spend the afternoon together. However, James had other plans in mind. He wanted to explore this big old house. His grandfather supported this idea and began to show him some of the old rooms of the house. James and his grandfather walked through the long, dark corridors of the house, visiting various rooms. Each room was filled with little stories from his grandfather's life. His grandfather told the memories behind each item and photo. However, on the top floor of the house, there was a dusty and forgotten room that intrigued James. The room had obviously not been entered for a long time, and there was an old, faded rug on the door. James asked his grandfather what was behind that door. His grandfather replied that it was a storage room that had been used many years ago and that there was not much inside. But James's curiosity got the better of him, and he and his grandfather decided to open the door. When they opened the door with difficulty, it was full of dust and old things. As James walked in, he suddenly saw a small, shiny piece of candy behind the door against the wall. This was no ordinary candy. It had colored stones on it that sparkled. James picked up the piece of candy, and as soon as he touched it, he suddenly found himself in a completely different place. When he looked around, he found himself in a magical world filled with colorful candy trees, rivers of chocolate, and clouds of marshmallows. Everything was so vibrant and sweet that James was amazed. A sugar turtle came up to him and began to guide him to discover the mysteries of this world. Together with the candy turtle, James swam in chocolate rivers, jumped in marshmallow clouds, and explored lollipop forests. At every step, he encountered a new flavor, and these flavors were like nothing he had ever tasted before. However, as time passed, James began to miss his grandfather. The sugar turtle gave James a magic piece of candy that he needed to use to go back. When James ate the piece of candy, he found himself back in his grandfather's house, in the dusty storage room. When he came out, his grandfather was looking for him anxiously. James told him about his adventures, and his grandfather listened in amazement. His grandfather marveled at James's great imagination and added another story to make that day unforgettable. James realized that day that he had discovered not just an old room in his grandfather's house, but an adventure beyond his wildest dreams. And even though he didn't know if the mysterious candy world was real or imagined, for James, it was the sweetest adventure of his life. Thank you for watching my video. If you want more story videos, please like my video and subscribe to my channel. I really need that. Goodbye.